Skinny spazoid. Robert Mugabe, dictator of modern-day Zimbabwe, although very recently in the news I read that the military has overpowered him, is an example of a man who has betrayed practically everything he claimed to be, essentially lying about how he would run his country. Mugabe identified as a Marxist-Leninist, however his policies have been described as only Mugabism. The man claimed to keep African nationalist ideals and not attack the white minority in his country. However, he ended up driving all white people out and destroyed the economy for everyone in his country. Zimbabwe's future is up in the air currently as the man has put the country through the ringer. Number 10. Living the life while destroying lives. Mugabe has infamously lived his life in luxury as he caused his country to go into the brink of disaster. On his 92nd birthday, he ate an expensive cake in a drought zone in his country. Mugabe also infamously killed 100 elephants for a feast in 2007 while poaching was on the rise in his country. Clearly, he is a man that lacks sympathy and empathy for the people whom he has wronged. Number 9. Poaching epidemic. Because Mugabe had so terribly destroyed the quality of life in Zimbabwe, the tourist industry basically collapsed in his rule. This caused an increased rise in poaching as people were left without a job. As stated before, it is also apparent that Mugabe personally was directly involved with this issue, ordering the deaths of animals so that he could have massive feasts. Mugabe gained his power through agreeing to have democratic elections. But even at the time of this agreement, it's important to note that he was incredibly corrupt even at this time. Mugabe used voter intimidation to get people to vote for him. Many people in Zimbabwe have commented that the word terrorism is more fitting term than intimidation, as Mugabe used soldiers to make sure he would win the election. Number 7. Breakout of diseases. During Mugabe's rule, basically every possible form of infrastructure was weakened in society. In 2008, the breakdown of water supplies and sewage systems caused a cholera outbreak. HIV and AIDS also went on the rise as an effect of the poor economy. Number 6. Invaded white farmers, which destroyed agriculture. Mugabe originally did not want to destroy the livelihood of the white minority. However, it ended up happening over time. Mugabe decided to push white farmers off of their land and replace them with black farmers. The problem was that the inexperienced new black farmers had a lot of trouble running the farms, causing a food shortage in the country. Number 5. Encouraged violence. Mugabe's soldiers were said to be more violent than what the people had witnessed in the Rhodesian War. Mugabe openly denied any claims that were made about his army, even going as far as to say that the Bishop of Bulawayo was disloyal to Zimbabwe after presenting a dossier of atrocities done by his 5th Brigade. Number 4. Able to not alert Western authorities. Mugabe's extreme African nationalism caused many countries in the West, such as England and America, not to get involved. Also, neighboring countries like South Africa had limited ability to interfere with him as he gained so much support for his nationalism. Mugabe pretty much ran the race card as much as he could, often claiming that problems in his country arose from either the British or the white minority in his country. Number 3. White Exodus. After surviving a bombing, Mugabe started to arbitrarily arrest white people in his government, claiming they were South African spies. Mugabe tortured these people, which enraged all of the white citizens. People started to immigrate in a white exodus as it was clear they were not safe under Mugabe's rule. Number 2. Troops were completely out of control. One of the greatest horrors of his regime is how out of control his troops were. Mugabe's blind eye to his 5th Brigade meant that anything was allowed. This includes, but is not limited to, rounding up villagers and severely beating them, shooting said villagers and putting them in mass graves, shooting schoolboys, raping schoolgirls, and burning villagers to death and making other villagers watch. Number 1. Completely destroyed the economy to the point of starvation. The saddest part about all that Mugabe did was that he destroyed the infrastructure so greatly that people suffered from the results of his actions that he was not directly a part of. The country was rife with disease and starvation, where violence was normal and accepted. The future of the people was destroyed as the country became more and more isolated from the outside world. Mugabe, in essence, took a country with a lot of potential and turned it into the third world, or even worse.